are suppressed. Okay, so everybody's here now. Okay, we're gonna get started. That thing we were just talking about, that's important thing, important for people to observe it. Now, do that also in your own town. If you're not on the reserve, if you're not native in your own town, just look around, start observing the people, and watch. Look at them. You can tell the people who aren't thinking, the people who are just blindly walking like zombies, following their instructions. Okay, so ana gadi wahi ga jokwa. Wada musia snarty. But gati dan studio, you're just kahawinoji. I'm just going to start. Rona ta roni. Retinu wada do gurunga gari agesum. Yeti sota as tanaka garakwa. Yetin estadi hunzage dana gwegu skat me kanungwe. Retinu wada do a gwei zini ganyat regerdo dana a gwegu o quadzidi. Anuka sona. Retinu wada do yeti sota gunhan there on the hetste me gonna go here that the hawakwe. Ayoki at again ha damdawe aron hetsida. Stasra ne it slips my mind. I'm trying to think what the word for the language.
Ugawana.
Yeah, so to bring back the true spirit of the Kanienkeha language. Now, to say this, of course, it's more than to what is thought of on the surface to bring back the Kanienkeha language. Today, we know that there's a lot of people that are doing this. There's a lot of effort, a lot of money being thrown into it, but we do know that the language is changing. That it's no longer the Kanienkeha, no longer the language that the people used to know. Now, this means, of course, there's a change in the physiology of the brain, of the way that the brain functions. Because now, let's say the original Kanienkeha, this is all stuff related to natural processes of creation, natural relationships, our interactions with the natural world. But now, why the language is changing is because it's no longer about those things. Now it's about the unnatural things. It's about the things that are negative, that don't exist in the natural world. So now we're talking about movies. We're talking about computers. We're talking about these things in Kanienkeha, like as if it's our language. Well, if we went on a journey and we all spoke 100% Kanienkeha, if we went on a journey discovering new things, we would have to create words, new words that describe those things. So is it that wrong that now today we're talking about computers, we're talking about televisions, we're talking about whatever, movies? No, is it that wrong that the language is changing like this? Well, what's wrong about it is that in the first place, well, it's not natural stuff that we're talking about. So that's the first thing wrong about it. The second thing that's wrong about it is not that we're not adding on, like expanding our Kanienkeha lexicon, meaning in Kanienkeha, if we got 50 words to describe everything, and then we're describing these new things, then there would be 51 words, 52, 53. But what's happening now is we're not adding on to the language that we have, we're changing the language now. So it's not a matter of, okay, we started out with 50 pounds of potatoes and we're accumulating some corn and some beans and some squash. So that means, hey, we should have more than 50 pounds. No, what's happening is we're actually diminishing in the poundage that we have, because we're picking up these other things, but the 50-pound bag of potatoes that we originally started off with is diminishing. Every time we pick up another word that isn't a real word and we bring it into like the Kanienkeha lexicon, then again, it's not a new word added to our old language. It's old language given up for these new words. This is what's happening. And so this is what changes the people. It's what this is the reason why people, the Mohawks are no longer people of the Great Peace. They can't talk about those things any longer. Even though then to talk about Longhouse, they can't, because it's like you or me talking about living on Mars. How the hell can we talk about living on Mars? We don't live on Mars. We can't. It's out of our ability. So the people today who are claiming to be Mohawk, they cannot talk about the things that are of our traditional or cultural background. They want to. Everybody talks about, oh, they say something about Great Law of Peace, but it's like a romantic thing for them to say, to connect them to their past. Like they feel good that, oh, I can say Longhouse. Ooh, I can say ceremonies while I'm sitting in a foreign imposed genocidal system that's destroying our people, changing our language. So you see, this is the corruption of where we're at, and to deal with that corruption, this is part of the reason why we're doing these Kanienkeha classes. And the good thing about it is that it's recorded, it's videoed, it's there for anybody to be able at any time to be able to access that, where you hear the proper words spoken in the right way from minds that are still connected to those things, that are still where it's still a living thing. But whereas, did anybody else talk about Great Law of Peace, ceremony, whatever? Where are they? What are they doing actually? Well, while they're sitting in church, they're talking about something of history. They're trying to talk in our language. Why would they do that? Why would you be that corrupt to sit in church and to speak our language when you're sitting in a white man's church that is coming from a very specific place, a very specific language? So this is the corruptions that are filtering down into the minds of our children, of the children who think that they are native. They can't think native any longer. They can't think Kanienkeha any longer. And so this is the effort to push back all of that that big ball of corruption. So just for people to know this, that this is in fact what in the language, I am not facing that so much because I am not a speaker the way that Wayagirdu is, but Wayagirdu is facing that all the time. In him speaking Kanienkeha all the time, who's he speaking to? Is he speaking to me? Can we have a conversation? A very small one. That would be like him speaking to a baby. But to speak to other people, this is where he runs into this corruption that we're identifying. The same way that when I'm talking about Guyana Rasaragoa, Great Law of Peace, or the ceremonies, I know that, well, we're talking with people who can't comprehend it today, who are on a different level of reality. So this is what is being dealt with in every community. The struggle to turn or bring back or fix things right is a huge, huge endeavor. Later on at the end of this class, we're going to talk a little bit more about this to explain to you about a new project that we're putting together that's going to be an extension of this Kanienkeha class. Okay, so
there's Janet that raised her hand.
Okay, you got a question, Janet, right away before we go into the class then?
No, I think the fact that you said there'll be some talk afterwards, I think that's where my hand raising is leading to. So, Yawa,
Okay, so as far as the class goes, the rest of the text was there, right? Okay, so then there's nothing for me to say right now. It's just go right into Waigiro.
So we remember what we did.
What?
I'm gonna go down so we remember what we did, like what is already written.
Okay. What is that? Because I can't. What do I gotta push
Oh,
there?
got it. Like the blue.
The blue
one.
bond? Again?
Yeah.
Okay. So these are the ones we already did last week.
Yeah.
I like that there. They are letting go of the paddle. That's a good explanation. Okay.
And then it's here that we start.
Okay. So those are ones that he didn't translate.
Yeah, we stopped there last.
Just to let everybody know, it might be a little bit hard tonight for me. You're gonna probably be hearing me say what a lot because my hearing is really screwed up. So be patient with me. We got the volume turned all the way up though, so and it's still hard for me to hear. Yeah. Look. Okay, so anyways, while we're waiting, just to so everybody knows what this subject is or this topic, it's a post that we put on my Facebook page last week, a week and a half ago. It's the one where there's a picture of a baby and it's sucking on its thumb, and there's explanation to it of it's where we identified that contraception is the responsibility of the men. So it's a whole statement of basically how men are supposed to be in relation to the life givers in that aspect of progeneration,
Procreation.
creation.
Okay, Edith, that Tana, take that first N out.
Great.
Okay, Tana, and then Gariwahid is good. Then that long word, take the M out, put an N. We got no M. Okay, that's good. Okay, so you want to split Tana in half? Te?
Oh yeah.
You split it up then.
How do you pronounce that second word?
Gariwa here. Let's see, Gari. Okay, take the H out. Wahere. Gariwa here. And then at the A, put a comma there. No, not there. The next word at A, yeah. Aon. AON. And put a one at the N. Dagunwa. Okay, I'm going Dio, and then you're the honor. You know that, so we shouldn't split that anymore. Okay. Agudiri Wanu, and at the A, apostrophe there, and then Gudi. Rihwa. Nu etne? Nu? Okay, that should do it. Okay, I'll read it. Tena gari wahede. Am da guadio yo di honor. Agodiri wanu etne.
Okay, wait, we gotta change where that break is.
Okay.
You see that? Say that again. Agundiri.
Agudiri.
Okay, after the RHI.
Agudiri wanu etne.
Pick out that other first one. Agundiri.
This one out, or no?
Yeah, take that one out. The one after W8. Take the one out after W8.
After WA.
Agundiri wa.
You mean before this one?
Agundiri wa. No, leave that. I didn't say that one. Leave that one in.
I don't understand what you're saying.
You did it already. I said take the one out after the A. You already did it. Agundiri wanu wene. Okay, yeah, that's the one. Okay. Tena gari wahare. Dagun what dio. Yodiane. Agundiri wanu wene.
Tena gariwahere aunda gunwadio yodiane agundiri wanu wene.
Good one.
Janet.
Dana gari waheri aun dagon wa dion ion diana agundari wene.
Merrick.
En Gariware aun tagunwation yontana aguntiri wano what aguntiri wano one.
Ne.
Harold.
Gari wahere aun tagun wa dion. Yo diana agun tiri wanu wene.
That's excellent.
Dene gariwahere aundagunwatio yodianer agondiriwanuweni.
It's very good, Mary Claude.
Elsa.
Then carry wahere tagunma tiun yotianer a condiri wanum wene.
Very good, Else.
Stephen.
Ano, Gariwahare, Ayuntagon, Wan Dion, Yotiane, Akun Tiri Wanu Wene.
Good.
Dena gaiwahere aunda gunwadio yodiane agundiri wanuene. Yite yotuet nuni. So the order for today is, as usual, Stuart, Edith, then Janet, Merrick, Harold, Marie-Claude, Elsa, Stephen, and me. So,
Oh, sorry, we have to go down. I was sleeping.
Okay, while Garrett was translating that, clear, you see, you know what it means. The father must nurture the life giver's children into the great peace. This means, simple statement, and we think we understand what it means, but there is a way that I was brought up, that I was raised, and there's another way that everybody who's not in a longhouse that is brought up the way that they are raised. Now, the people who are not brought up in the longhouse, they don't know what it's like to be brought up in the longhouse. They got no clue. Even if all my life I had friends who in Ganawagi who were not longhouse, who were just regular people in town, who were not, who they didn't know any of the songs, they didn't know any of the ceremonies, they didn't know anything about anything when we're referencing traditional longhouse ceremonies, songs, things you're supposed to do in a longhouse, clans, where you're supposed to sit. So these people, other people don't know any of that. So for a father to nurture a life giver's children into the great peace, this means a completely different life than what you are aware of. And this means right here in Ganawagi, my next door neighbors have a completely different life. They were raised completely different, entirely opposite to the way that I was raised. Now, we're neighbors and we can get along, we can talk, we can understand the same things, but there is a reality of what makes Kanienkeha a Kanienkeha is, again, our connection and how we maintain and keep alive the great law of peace. So this is a huge endeavor to try to do today, because what everybody else is doing, daily basis to try to stay alive, we got to do that also. And then now on top of staying alive, keeping our old way alive. So this is like nurturing, almost like serving two masters. One because we're forced to. There's an invasion here of an invasive species that is inflicting upon us, having no choice but to have this in our hand, and at the same time have, just as an example, have this in our hand, something that's non-native, from the non-native world, that is an inanimate object that is created in a way that's destructive to creation. So we have to live conducive, and at the same time, we're involved in this destruction of creation. So this is for everybody to try to comprehend. It's going to take a long time for you to do this, of that people such as Wayagero and myself, we got to not only walk in the same world that everybody else is walking in, but we're walking in two worlds. We got to bridge that gap. This is something that everybody else does not have to do. They are not doing. So anyways, just to keep these things in mind also. Okay.
Okay, split that at ga and then ni. Ga, ni. NIH, okay, that's good, set off. And then at the A again, a comma. Asago. New day, leave it like that. And then tgundun, tgundun, hetsera, tgun hetserat gawas, okay, and then gawajide, you know that one by now. I don't know if you want to break it. Oh, okay, break it at gahwa.
No, we don't need a break in there.
No, okay, gawajide, and then gayanera, sera, gayanera, at the H, sera, goa. Okay, you think that's okay for you?
Yeah.
Okay, ga nisera, asagonade, tkudun hetserat gawats, gahwajire, gayanera sera goa.
Got Nizera, Asago, Nunde, Gundun Hetzerat Gawis, Gawadzire, Gayana Rasara Goa.
Ganisera asagununde kundon hetsera gawas kawatsire gayanera seragoa.
Janet?
Ganisera, oh, sorry. Ganisera asago nunde, tegundong hetsera guas,
Gawas.
gawatsiri, gawatsiri, gayana seragoa. Gayana rasaragoa.
Kanisera, Kanisera, Kanisera asako nunte te kontun etsera gawas kawatsere gayana seragoa.
Anisera, Asako, Nonde, the Gundung Hetzret Gawas, the Watsida, Diana Sarako.
Ganisera asago nute tikuntum hetzerat gawas gawatsire gayanera seragoa.
Ganisera asagununte kundun hetsera gawas kawatsira ganasera gayanera seragawa.
Good, Elsa.
Kanisera asako nunte tukundun hetsara gawas kawatsere gayanara saragoa.
Ganisera asagonunte kuntun hetzerat gawas gawatsire gayanera seragoa. Te yutwet nuni.
I heard something, Janet, when you were reading it, when you said got what today, because of my hearing, it sounded like you said got lost today. That's what I heard. Anyways.
Well, that's probably true. I probably got lost again.
I got lost today. That's a way to remember got what today. I got lost today. Okay. Where are we now? And walk with them into the ceremonies. Is that? Okay, yeah. I knew that. I knew that wasn't part of the topic.
Yeah.
So to do this, like we said, for a father to do this, must walk and dance with the life giver's children into the ceremonies. This means that, as anybody knows, that when you have children, you do not have a life anymore. You do not have the right to what you want. Everything is about the children. So you may want to, I don't know, pursue skydiving. It doesn't matter what you want to pursue. You must have your children, you must raise them in a way that keeps their minds solid, where they are happy, where they have a peaceful existence, where it's beautiful. And this is what the ceremonies provide, only the ceremonies, because it's the only place where you have, the life giver and the life protector functioning in relation to each other in a perfect balanced way. In the ceremonies, this is where, ask anybody who's ever been in ceremony, this is the only place, or this is how women life givers have control over their family, control over their surroundings, control over their house, their community, their nation. Any other way, you don't have control. If you are not in ceremonies of giving thanks for creation, then you're not raising your children in a balanced way. They are not a part of the creation. They are not being taught about it, how to be in balance with it. So this is all about, this is what the longhouse is all about. And for a man to raise his children in this, I remember myself all my life dancing from as far back as I can remember, dancing with my father in the longhouse. I would dance with my mother. Of course, it was the woman's dance. And little boys can do that for a while, only as long until you get to a certain age and where your mother tells you, go sit down, this is the woman's dance, you know. But I was able to dance with my mother for, I remember, for a little while when I was a little kid. I'd be dancing with her, doing the woman's dance up until it was, I was too big now. So my father is what kept me dancing in the ceremonies, in the socials. My father is what kickstarted me into singing. As some of you know, all my life, when it came time in the longhouse for the rabbit dance, that was my father and I that would sing that. So this is something that fathers have to do. You have to sing with your children. Now, you might not appreciate that enough to know, because in the non-native world, well, you don't have songs of importance. You know, it's not songs of meaning or connection. So to maybe sing those songs with your children, you know, it might be maybe a trivial thing. You know, maybe when you're a little kid, when you're a baby, you might be singing a fun song with your kids. But there seems to be an age where we grow out of that and we stop singing. I kept singing with my father pretty much right up until the day that he died. Well, we weren't singing constantly, but when the ceremonies arose, or every once in a while, we would do something and I would spring it on him and tell him, hey, we're singing the rabbit dance. And we were singing the rabbit dance. So this is something that I've done all my life with my father until pretty much until the day that he died. I don't know, maybe it was a week before or 2 weeks or something, but this is what we're supposed to do. So my father started me singing. I sang with him, and right up until like I had to take over and sing for him to get him going into the song. And some of you who are present might remember some of the last songs that I was singing with him. I basically carried him along. There was a couple of parts where he was able to sing it, you know, like, but not sustain. So I think in my life of my singing career in the longhouse, my father kickstarted me into the songs and dances. Well, actually, my mother did, but then she passed me on to my father to keep me into that male rhythm of the longhouse. And then I kept this going as I got older, from social songs to the ceremonial songs to taking over and singing the Estoa Goa myself, where I never knew how to do this, where all the other singers just gave up. They literally, everybody just gave up. They just quit. They just abandoned their own, what they call beliefs, if they wanted to say they believed it. But you look at all the people who were ever in the longhouse, and I watch people come and go all my life. They are not real longhouse people. They don't keep that song and that dance going themselves. They need somebody else to do it. Otherwise, it doesn't happen for them. So this is what, how a man, this is what we're talking about, how a man is supposed to be in the world. My father sung these songs, danced me into the longhouse, and I did this for my children. It's unfortunate that at that time that all the singers just, like I said, they all just gave up. They all gave up. They all want to join the white man. They all work in the foreign imposed genocidal system. All the people who were ever singers in a longhouse, they all work for the band system. They're all in it now. So this is just a little bit of a piece of the herstory of what is happening to the structure of the longhouse, and as far as the songs, the language, the ceremonies. But it is still there. It is not something to think of. Oh no, it's too bad, it's disappearing. It's not like that. It's stronger than ever. People have the wrong perception about things. Okay, anyways, let's look at dividing those words then. Dayun. Maybe it should be after dayun, da. No, leave it like that. We'll see once he says it. Okay, dayan. Between the two ends, yeah. Ide waderi
Dechado.
wade.
Okay. Dano, dayanun, dano, dayun takwayo, dano, dayanun yakwe, chide waderi hua techado.
Dano, dayun, takwayo, dano, day. Oh,
Sorry,
where am
but
I?
it's really where
I
you
got
were.
mixed up. Dayun, takwayo, dano, dayan, dayenu, dayenu nyakwe, si de waderi wade jato. Oh,
Chide waderi hua techado.
terrible. Si de waderi wade jato.
Dano, dayun daguaya, dano, dayenu nyakwe, si de wadejado.
Dano, John Tak, Wayan,
Dayun takwayo.
Dayun Tak, Wayan, Dano, Dayun Niakwe, Sidewa, Teri, Wade, Dayudon,
Jado.
Diado. Yeah.
Danun dayon twak. Danun dayon takwayan. Danun dayanun nyakwe. Site wateri wate jato.
Danu, Dayunta, Guayun, Danu, Dayun, Dayunun, Niakwe, Chiti, Wateri, Wate, Jatu.
Dano dayon dakwayan, dano dayenu nyakwe, tidewa deri wate jato.
Danu, dayun daguayam, danu, dayanu, nyakwe, si wate jadu.
Dano, dayunta, guayon, dano, dayono, nyakwe, jite wateri wate jato.
Dano dayon takwayan, dano dayenu nyakwe, side waderi watechado. Te yutwet noni.
So here, what you're hearing, what you're saying, just imagine this as this is the life that you have lived. This is the life that I have lived. This is the way I grew up. So everything that is said here, imagine it physically happening to you. So think of this. What does this mean? A father must.
Yeah.
What happened?
Happened. Yeah, I know.
A father must speak
Hang on. What happened?
and speak all the words of peace that are required for the life giver's children to grow in balance. Okay, so what does that mean? What that means is once you are in the ceremony, in the songs and the dances, anybody who's had opportunity to join us in our ceremonies, you know, that there is always the teachings of whatever it is that the ceremony is about. There's the teachings of this, of how we're connected to it, our interaction, blah, 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 so on and so on. You know, so we may be talking about the corn. And of course, yes, we'll talk about the science of how the corn grows and how we're supposed to nurture it, all of that. But then we talk about how how the great law of peace, how a balanced mind, a peaceful mind works in relation to that. Because you know that everybody on earth knows something about corn. And you can think about corn, you can talk about corn, but do you have the great law of peace perspective to then talk about corn? Well, then therein you can see that there is a difference. So when a father must speak about the great law of peace to the children, this is in the longhouse. This is a song just ended. The Astoa Goa just finished. This is where the men are supposed to stand up. The men or the mothers are supposed to stand up and share words of wisdom of how to teach the children how to be peaceful. So at that time you may think, oh, we're gathered for the little festival of the green corn. You might think, okay, we're talking about the corn and great law of peace, but then you're talking about how the children are supposed to interact with one another in relation to that corn. So it's about how the people develop in peace. The lexicon, the lingo of peaceful people is diametrically opposite of people who build weapons, people who make guns, who make bullets to put in guns to kill people. People who do this do not have the same language. We do not have the same brain. The non-native has a different type of brain than the native people. And now here, when I'm saying non-native, everybody on earth is non-native. If their thinking is not in balance with peace, is not conducive to a peaceful existence, then everybody is non-native, because our Mother Earth is a system of interconnected love, a system of interdependence on one another. In interdependence, one doesn't build a gun. If you build a gun, you can only use it on the other. You're not going to use it on yourself. If you are, you're just crazy, and this is the way of the non-native anyways. But this is what we don't do. We don't build guns. If your mind is of peace, you don't build guns. When you build guns, it's because your mind is foreign to this world, which means you are not native. If you want to be native to our Mother Earth, then you have to think conducively to our Mother Earth. And the only place this arises is out of the ceremonies, out of this way. So even though you were not raised this way, you keep speaking these words. If you speak these words, the next generation will speak these words. The next generation will speak them until eventually you are back to where you are supposed to be. As a species, as a collective, as the life of force of our Mother Earth, we will be back the way that we're supposed to be. Okay, so, all right.
Ayu Dadi.
Ayu.
Wana Sua.
Awana. Kari.
Kari Wanuta.
Kari. Manu.
Okay. Ne. Jitkagun Cheri Hare.
Titka.
Jitkagun Cheri Hare.
Jerry.
Tiri hare, okay. And Kudun Hetzerat Gawas.
Tugundun.
Kuadion Ogunwa. O K-O-N. K-O-N needed. No, right at the beginning, K-O-N, I left out the N.
Oh, okay.
Kuadi. And then Yon Ogun. Okay, Yon Ogun. You think you could do that? Yon Ogun. It's up to you.
No, Yon. Yeah.
Kuadi Yon Ogun. Ayun de Yaro. Okay, are you A, right at the A? You de.
Yardo. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'll read it. Ayundadi o wana sua skana. Kari wanu tane jigagun tseri hare. Kudun hetserat kawas. Guadion ogoa. Ayunda de hiaro.
All right. Well,
Wait, that last one, did you say Ayunda de Yaro?
Yeah, ayun. Oh no, ayude hiaro. It's my mistake.
okay. Ayondadi awana su'a skana kari wanunta ne tsitka gun hare tgundun hetserat kawis gun wadiyan gun ayunde yardo.
Okay, good.
I'm gonna shut that light. It's too bright.
Yeah. Ayundadi o buena su'a skana gariwanunda ne sigagun serihare kundun hetzerat gawas don wadia ugua ayunde hiaru.
Janet, you're muted.
Oh, I didn't know, sorry. I'm kind of lost today. Ayundade Oweni Owena Sun Skana Gari Wana Dane Sitka Gunzeri Zerihare Gunde Gunda etc. Gua etc. Ga
Gawas.
huh? Can you say it again?
Kudun hetserat gawas.
Gun Hetsera Gawas. Gunwade Ian
Guadi yon ogunwa.
Gunwadi Ian Ogun Ayonde Ayero
Hiaro.
Yaro. I have to honestly tell you, I wish I could be in a live immersion environment. That's the only way I can speak the language. When I was younger, I was immersed for a while and it was coming to me naturally. And now it's so hard for me and I don't understand, except that it's the words are getting in the way, so I don't know the accent anymore.
Well, on that, what we're going to talk about after this is about what is going to develop out of the direction that we're going to go now. So next summer, what we're looking at is to have interactive Kanienkeha classes where we're going to have maybe a weekend or maybe just a day, depends on whatever the interaction of the people wants to be, to have like a day of immersion. Like people will come here, maybe just for a day or a weekend, maybe a week, we'll see. where it'll be immersed in for maybe whatever ceremony we're in, or whatever the action of, maybe it'll be at the time of, say, like the Cory cleanup, you know, like you're cleaning up the environment. So this is what we're looking for to do by next summer. So along those lines of what you're talking about, that's as close as we can get right now to providing an atmosphere of total immersion. Okay, so who's next?
Ayon tati oen asumpa skenen gariwanunta ne sika kun serihare tukunton hetsera gawas konwati ya okuna ayon ayonti yaron te hayon.
Ayon dati, awo soa, skoa. Kari wanu ta ne sika gong seri hare. The kuntung headset gavus gong mari yon agoa. Ayon te yarum.
Ayudadi owanasuan skana gariwanunta ne tika kun serihare tikuntun hetseragawas gowatiyan ogunha ayute yaro.
Audati Omena Suna Skana Karimanunta ne Sitska Serihari Kundunetras Kuati yang kuna ayunte yarum
Ayun tate, owana so askana, kari wanu tane, kat kun serihare, te kundon hetsarakawas, kun wati yan akua, ayonte hiaro.
Very good.
Ayon tati owana su'a skana gariwanunta ne tsitska kon serihare kondon hetzerat gawas kon wati ya ogunha ayon te yaro. Te yotwet nuni.
Anisera. I don't think we need a break on that one, Anisera.
It's up to you.
Yes,
Yes,
so go. Yeah.
Guitar. Okay, it's supposed to be Hase. I made a mistake. It's the H before the A. Yes, I'll go guitar Hase. Giniwe. Maybe you don't have to break that, eh? Giniwe nono. Yonki sota.
Yonki. Put a break there.
And then Tkudun headset at Gawas. You break that where you want. At Gawas, no. Then I left that one out. Okay. Put you after you done headset at Gawas and you put Nona. Okay, Nona. Then this word, Yundade. Nada. Renawi. I think that should stay Yundade Nada Renawi. Okay.Ganisara Yasagodi Tarhase. Jiniwe Nona Yuki Sata. Skudun Hetzerat Gawas Nona. Yutade nada renawi.
Nizera, Yasago Titar Hase, Ziniwe Nona Yunki Sota, Kundun Hetzerat Gawis Nona, Yunda de Nata Ranawi.
Ganisera Yasagoti Harhase, Siniwe, Nona, Yonkisota, Tikondon Hetzerat Gawas, Nona, Yonda de Dahronawi.
Ganitsera, Ganisera, Yaksako, Tihar Hase, Siniwi, None, Yonkisota, Tegundo Hetsera Qua, Nonen Yondade, Natarinawi.
That's the one.
Kanisera Yasoko Tiharase Jiniwe Nonen Yoki Sota Tikontun Hetsera Gawas Nonen Yontate Nata Reunau.
Very good.
Benisera, Yasago, Dita Hase, Siniwe, Nona, Yonkisota, Tukuntun Hetzerat Gawis, Nona, Yontate, Nata, Winawi.
Ganisera Yasago Titar Hase, Tiniwe Nona Yokisota Kuntun Hetzerat Gawas, Nona Yuta de Nada Renawi.
Canicera, Yesegotirarase, Siniwe, Nona, Yunki Sota, Tecondones, Etzerat Kawas, Nona, Yuntate, Natarenawi.
Very good.
Ganisara, Yasago Titar Hase, Ziniwe Nona, Yunkisota, Tukundon Hetserakawas, Nono, Yontate Nataranawe.
Ooh, it's really good.
Kanisera, Yasako Titahase, Tiniwe, Nona, Yonkisota, Kuntun Hetzerat Gawas, Nona, Yontate Nata Renawi. There you
Ooh,
go.
very good, Madame Azar.
We're gonna have to get one of those buttons to start breaking you up because it sounds too good. Okay,
Like
so
I have a lot of pressure when Stephen is just before me, so I am.
that's why we gotta get a Stephen button. One to
Come on now, I'm not that good.
Okay, while Wiregear is translating this, again, just keep thinking about you being born and raised in the Longhouse. And this is what your father is doing. You're watching your father do this stuff. So yeah, when you're a little kid, if you're a little boy or a little girl, you know that a little boy or girl sees the father differently, in a different way. But a little boy, of course, it's like a guy's club, you know, a father talking to a little boy. A girl knows that she's in the girls' club. So when a little boy is listening to his father speak of the woman's moons, the little boy knows that the father is speaking about the little boy's mother. So then this is where to speak with the greatest respect, to nurture a balanced society. This means, as you know, that in the non-native society, that the parents obviously talk like with dirty, filthy mouths in relation to the woman's moons in order to have a worldwide corruption of the way that everybody around the world looks at the woman's moons. So you know that there was filthy mouths. These are not the way that fathers or parents are supposed to speak to their children. Their children are not supposed to be hearing such filthy references to the most sacred process in creation. And especially when a little boy or little girl is hearing it of their mother. This is of the utmost importance that you have a father, a man, a male, standing in front of the people speaking of the woman's moons. First off, then this puts the little girl who knows that she's in the girls' club, she's not in the boys' club, so she's hearing her father, who she's looking up to in a different way that the son does. She's hearing her father speak of something sacred that is a cycle within the girls' club. So that little girl knows that her father is speaking, not only speaking in a sacred way, but therefore is protecting her, protecting what is sacred within her that she doesn't even know of yet. So the father is preparing her mind for, let's see, how old are you before you can really remember that you're conscious? Maybe 3, 4 years old. So from 3 years old till, let's say, 12, on average, when a girl gets her moon. So for 9 years, the father has to be speaking in such a way, in such a beautiful fashion, to nurture the wonder in that little girl, to nurture the self worth, her own self-respect, her own image of herself and her mother. The father's responsibility is to strengthen that. So imagine you growing up this way in a longhouse, in the ceremonies. Your father dances you into the ceremonies, sings you into the songs, to the point of where it is now your rhythm, and you stand as a man or as a woman in the longhouse as an adult to in turn do these very things. This is an amazing cycle. For myself, I can say that this, hopefully, knock on wood, hopefully I'm not at the end of my life, but hopefully I got, who knows how much more to see. I got beautiful boys in this world that I want to see creation develop through them, and what comes about, to see the beauty of the continuum passed down, and to have great law of peace still in the hearts and minds of the people, where step outside of this yard and it's not there in everybody else. It's not in their minds. It is in their minds as something foreign to them, something that they've never been exposed to, that they'll never know about. So this is the beauty of the way that humans are supposed to be nurtured into this sacred life that we have. So yeah, this is, keep thinking of, if this was your words, picture yourself being raised, born and raised in the ceremonies, in the longhouse, nurtured in such words that you never heard a woman's moon referenced as period, except by the people that you know are corrupt. But in everybody, that's the words that you've had. You spoke of a woman's moons in a degrading way. Even the women have spoken of their own moons in a degraded way, because this is what the male dominance has taught them. Well, this is what not male dominance, not female dominance, but this is what Gayandawana looks like, balance, where the men acknowledge that we are the secondary, and that the life giver is the primary and must be nurtured and held with the highest esteem above all else. Regardless of if you're having a fight with your wife or your girlfriend or even maybe your mother. Oh, forbid that, that ever happens. But even if you are having just an argument, a disagreement, always in your heart and mind, you keep these two balanced, to have all of these words, all of this great law of peace as the foundation to your the way that you are. Let it just flow out of you. Okay.
Elsa raised her hand.
Yeah, okay, Elsa.
I have a question. For example, my moon stopped yesterday, and this week, well, during my moon, I was very emotional, and I was wondering, do you have to speak of the symbolic, the way, no, not the symbolic, but in reference to Mother Earth, do you always bring what it means to be, let's say, to be, for my example, to be really emotional? Maybe Mother Earth is speaking through me. So I'm wondering, does the life predictor have to speak about the moons in a relation, always talking about the relation with the Mother Earth?
Everybody always has to talk that way. Now, when we say the guys have to talk this way, so then imagine if the women didn't talk that way. The guys would just eventually stop talking that way. Imagine if the women became something very ugly. Well, if they became something very ugly, then you know that the men wouldn't want anything to do with them. So we know that it's from the mothers that this emotion, this love, has to keep flowing like a spring flowing out of the ground. The love just keeps pouring out, just keeps showering the people. Now, when you think of the woman's moons, that, as you said, you get emotional. I know enough now in how long I've been alive and relating to the life givers. I know that, yeah, you get very emotional at this time. So we think just that blood is the product or the byproduct of a woman's moon. No, emotion is. With all the stuff, when you're going from moon to moon, let's just think of that as one day. Okay, so in one day, from moon to moon, you experienced all kind of stuff that were a lot of happiness, a lot of sadness, a lot of things that harden you, especially in this world now today. Women are being hardened. You're being turned into men, even to the degree of where your moons are being stopped by men creating drugs, pharmaceuticals that takes your moon away. Now you take your moon away, the blood stops. Yes, what else stops? The emotion. And if the emotion stops, then what happens? What kind of being are you after that? The woman will become a being just like the man, just like male. So moons are so important as it renews the blood, but it also renews emotion. Meaning, what's the number one emotion in Great Law of Peace? Love. So the woman's moons is what is renewing the love that is there amongst the people. So love is, if you look at it like a product, it's what you produce. Where is it? Can you put it in a bottle? No, it's not there. It's something that is a living thing that you're sharing. It's your life force. So the women must keep that life force flowing. You must never what's the term here? Utilize the male's corruption of the pharmaceuticals that stops your moon. You must never use that. Any woman, whoever uses that, and it's mostly young girls, teenage girls that use that because of no guidance. They have no guidance whatsoever. They're listening to science that's telling them, stop your moon, because you can play tennis. You can be in the boardroom. You could not be troubled by that blood. which spurs emotion in the boardroom. So you can be a cold-hearted snake, just like a guy. That's what will happen to women if the moons are not nurtured. If it's not nurtured in the people, like as far as to understand it, to speak of it in the way that it truly is to be spoken of, up until now, everybody's speaking of moons about blood. How many people speak about moons about that it produces emotion, it produces love for our people? So little girls at 12 years old that or 10 years old, as they're getting their moon, what are they doing with their moon? Are they okay? They're gonna have a baby. They're gonna all of a sudden, no. They're producing love. They're producing love for their mother. They're producing love for their father, love for their sisters and brothers, love for their aunts and uncles, love for the people. And each level of womanhood, each age that you're at, that you have your moon, you're producing that love for different aspects of the society. As you know, yes, a man has to produce love for a woman has to produce love for a man. But then there's other love that the woman produces from her, that stems from her moons, that puts that emotion in her to feel that empathy for the other, so that the women do this. They sacrifice their own experience to what? Be standing around a hot fire to cook for their children, because they know that this is love, that this is how love is progenerated. Anyways, a lot more to think about the woman's moons than the way the world looks at it. So again, just keep thinking about that. You are that little child growing up in a longhouse, and all these words is what you see, is what you experience. This is what I experienced. This is what I lived through. It was beautiful, and it is something to remember and something to pass on, because it is true, it is balanced, and it is good. Okay, Gardi Wa. Can you pronounce that word while you're there? Yeah, Gariwa. When yeah. No, before the S.
It's got the S has to be in. Kagwenyes.
Yes.
Don't set up.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Let's Gagu.
Gowana. Oh, okay, you're there. All right. Kagoon.
30. All right, yeah.
Okay, Edith, I didn't finish that word. That ojokwa. Take the period out and put K-O-N. Goon. Yeah, ojokwa.
Ojokwago. That's everybody.
Yeah, the society.
Society.
Or group or society. Yeah. Okay, Gari Hoganya Statsara Goana Gagun Seri Hare Ojokwago.
Gari Wakwenya Starsara. Gari Wakwenya Starsara Goana Gagun Sera Hare Ojokwago.
Okay, Gagun Seri Hare.
Gagun Seri Hare. Ojokwago.
Yariwa kwenye stansera kowana kagonseri hare ochokwagu.
Garihuaguenyes, Densera, Gowana, Gago Seriare, Ojionkwago.
Gariwa Conestansera Guanan Gagun Seriare Ojokongwakon.
Ojokwago.
Ojokwago.
Iwa Gwenya Stansida, Gawana, Gogon City, Hare, Ojokwagon.
Gari Guanyestansera, Gowana, Gagonserihare, Ojunkwago.
Kariwak Kanienkeha con Koano Gago Serihare Ocho Wagon.
Garikwa Quenya Goano Kakon Seri Hare Ojokwakon.
Gary Wagwanyestansera, Gowana, Gagunseri, Hare, Ojo, Guago. Eyotwetnuni.
Okay. The other ones, the other words there already.
Kanisera, Ahara Dadi, Ahara.
Ahara dade.
Ahara Dade.
Mhm.
Okay, take that out from the Ahara. And put it after the TA. Ahara Dade. Okay, that,
Okay, and the rest of that go, it's gone. Okay.Ganisara, aha. Let's see,Ganisara. Aha, radade. H-A. After the first H-A, put another one there. Aha, radade. Kanisara, aha, radade. Kayanrasara, goa, skana.
Kanisera, Ahara Dade, Guyana Rasseras, Goa. I was going to say Guyana Rasseras Skana Goa. Guyana Rassera Goa Skana.
Garnisera, Ahaharada de Gayanarasara Goa Skana.
Kanisera, Tade, Guyana, Sara, Goa, Skana.
Anisara Haharatate. Gayanara Saragoa Skana.
Anisa, Ahaharate, Gayanara, Sara, Go, Skona.
Kanisera, Ahaharata de Gayanera, Seragoa, Skana.
Canicera, Aharantate, Gayanara Seras, Ganasera Goaskana.
Nisara Ahaharatate Gayanara Saragoa Skana.
Ganisera, Ahaharatate, Gayanara, Seragoa, Skana. Eyotwetnuni.
Is that one translated already? Or not? Okay, while he's translating that, so what everybody should do is just keep thinking this over in your mind. And what this is going to do is it's going to hardwire your brain. It's going to rewire it. The brain, the human brain has been corrupted, has been rewired for corruption, to be only male dominant, to cancel out one part of the brain. So if you keep thinking this, keep picturing yourself that this is you, that you grew up in a longhouse, that you were danced into the songs, were walked into the ceremonies, that you were brought into the longhouse for your head to be firm, and you were raised this way. So imagine this as being you. And this is going to rewire your brain. You're going to eventually your brain is not going to have the corruption of male domination. Your brain will have the balance, will have Gayandawana of acknowledging and working with the reality of the two that is within. And so this is how we change the world. We change the world by putting the medicine where the medicine is needed. So what is destroying our Mother Earth is not the fact of that, well, we're digging up rivers, we're digging up uranium, we're polluting the rivers, cutting down the forest. That's not what's destroying our Mother Earth. What's destroying our Mother Earth is the thinking that allows it, the thinking that originates in an imbalanced male dominant mind. And so this is how we rewire the problem. And the problem is everybody in the world who has not been raised proper within the proper balanced matrilineal upbringing. That's the problem in the world. And so this is how we change it. So just keep thinking this, keep thinking it's you. Imagine yourself. This is the image that's in my head when I think of, when I remember back as to how my father danced me into the ceremonies. I'm thinking in the longhouse of, the one before the 207, the one that was down at Dominic Daibo's old place where the current Eagle's Nest store is right now on the 207. That the old longhouse was behind there. And I remember dancing to the fish dance with my father. And anybody who remembers him, he was bull-legged. And I always remember the way he danced. I used to make fun of him too. I used to mimic him, you know, the way that he danced. Until I realized only later on in life of what I was mimicking. I wasn't mimicking, making fun of somebody the way that they danced. I was mimicking somebody who was expressing their own freedoms, their own happiness within the ceremonies of the longhouse. I was shown how to do that. And so that's my memory of being danced into the longhouse, danced into the ceremonies. So think of this, if you had it, how balanced you would be. Maybe I'm not balanced, maybe I'm corrupted, but just imagine if you had that, how balanced you could be. All right. Right at the first one. And after the end. Got to go. I think we could leave that all as one.
Oh, dapat forward.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. The dun.
Row.
Oh yeah. It's rao. Okay. I can't even see that from here. Okay. Rao. And then dun hats. Ayun. De. Voyant. Ayun de voyant. Yeah. Ayun. Zoom.
I think that way I get away break it more like that with a name like this.
Ayun da sundero.
No. Put it back. Take that out of from the A. Put it at Ayun.
Like that?
Yeah. Ayun da sundera. Yeah. Dun hetser dat gawis gumwa.
This one I know.
Dion, yeah. Gua Dion.
Gumwa. Gumwa.
Dion Gua.
Yeah.
Okay. Aunda hat got with. Raudun hets. Ayun dawayontu. Ayun da sundero tkudun hetserat kawas. Wadiyon ogun.
Aonda hat kawe. Raondum hets. Ayun de wayondum. Ayun de wayondum. Ayun da sundera. Kundun hetserat kawes. Gua dion ogun. Gua dion. How do you pronounce that, Wayagera?
You said it right. Wadiyon ogun.
Gua dion ogun.
Aonda hatkawe, raudun hets, ayun de wayandun, ayun da sundera, skundun hetserat gawas, con what dian ogun.
On the kawe, round doen hets. Ayunde, wiendon, ayunda sunteren, gunda hetseraquas, gunwa dien uguna.
Un tahat kawe, raun tunhets, ayon te wayanton, ayon ta sonteren, te kontun hetsera kawas, konwan tian agun.
Aun don't dahat gawe. Waun don't hets. Ayun de wayontum. Ayun da sundera. Tkundun hetserat kawas. Kon wadiyon ogun.
Ahun dahat gawe raun hets ayon de wayantu. Ayon da sutera tikuntun hetserat gawas con watiyan ogunha.
Aunda gawe. Rautonets. Ayunde weyantu. Ayuda sutera. Sutera. Cuando netzerat gawas. Como a tia alguna.
Good one.
Ayunta hatkawe, raunton hets, ayunta wayunto, ayunta sontero, tekundun hetsera kawas, kunwa tion ogua.
Ahun tahat gawe, rauntu hets, ayun te weyanton, ayun ta suntera, tkundhun hetserat gawas, konwantiyan ogunha. Tuyotwet noni.
Wow. How much do we got left? And what time is it?
Still a good bunch, and it's 8:43.
Okay, maybe we do that one last one. Oh wait, let's see how much is left so we can get an idea of what we're dealing with. Okay, maybe we should stop there then. Let them do that, and then we can go into just address the other stuff that we said we're gonna address. So this is what we're gonna do now. We're gonna. This is the part where Wayagera is gonna read it all off. Everybody knows, have your microphones off, be quiet until it's recorded. And then we're gonna come back and discuss some very exciting developments.
Okay, so I'm muting the longhouse too, and I will ask you to unmute yourself after. So you can go ahead, Wayagel.
No, Edith's got to go to where we started. Was that where it was? Okay. Tana. Okay. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Tana gari wahide. Am da guadio. Agua. Am da guadio, you the honor. Agudiri huano ene. unless under certain circumstances provide for the clan mothers to give their approval. Ka'nisara asagonude tkudunetsarat kawas kawajere kayanarasara goa. A father must nurture the life giver's children into the great peace. Dano, tayum takoya, dano tayenunyakwe, tiwaderiwa tejato, and walk and dance with them into the ceremonies. Ayudadi owana su'a skana, kariwanutane, jitkagun serihare, tkutun hetzeratkaos, kuwadia ogoa, ayudehiaro, and to speak of the words of peace that are required for life givers' children to grow up in balance. Gani saraya sagotarhaste, ziniwe nona yukisota, tkudun hetzerat kawas, nona yutadenada renawi. A father must speak to their children about the life giver's moons. Garihwaganyastan saragowana, gagun serihare ojokwagu. With the great respect to nurture and balanced society. Kanisara ahaharata dene kayanarasara goa skona. A father must hold the great law of peace. Aunda hatka we raodunhets. Ayundeweyontu. Ayuda sundara. Tkudun hetzerat gawas. Kuadia ogoa. And even sacrifice their own life to preserve the continuum to the life giver's children. That's it.
Okay, Longhouse, you have to mute yourself now.
Okay, so well, for now that's it for the language part of tonight. Just to discuss now, or to share with you something that developed this week, something that we worked on here within the Longhouse. As a result of many things that are happening, but within the vein of continuing to share the language, continuing to share, the Guyana Nasira Goa. This is, again, the agenda of the Longhouse back in 2008, that we had identified what is wrong in the world and what the medicine is that the world needs. We had determined that what's wrong in the world is the imbalanced male dominant mind. And so where the medicine is needed upon our Mother Earth is in the minds of imbalanced male dominant men within the thinking. This is where the problem is. It's within the thinking. It's not within where people are chopping down trees. It's not where people are digging up the earth and polluting. It's in the thinking process first that permits this, that leads the person to believe that this is it's okay to do this, that to think that killing ourselves is a way for us to make a living. Killing ourselves is no way to make a living. It is unsustainable. You can only kill yourself for so long until you succeed. And if you are benefiting some crazy way, you imagine that you benefit from that. Here, I'll peel off my skin and I'll sell it. And oh, you get $1. And you think you're benefiting from that. Anyways, this is the reasons why that the teachings were where it was determined in 2008 that we have to put out the great law of peace to the world. We cannot just be at the scene of a crime, watching a rape take place. You cannot just stand there. You must, at the very least, say, stop. and you must offer the alternative to what is happening. And so this is the vein in which we are in. This is everything that the Longhouse does, all the teachings in what Wayagirdo does in this with the language. No matter where he goes, it's about this. I don't have to ask him, but I'm pretty sure he never went anywhere where they're asking him to tell them words about a let's rob a bank or chop down trees or rape. I'm pretty sure that this is not within what Wayagirdo is doing in the teachings. It is all about peace. This is the language. You're not going to find stuff about murder in the Kanienkeha language. So it is the agenda to push peace out there. Now, within this is where we got to be very creative in our efforts. They have to be constantly changing, because as the enemy to creation is constantly amping up its aggression against us, its attack, its assault on our Mother Earth, that means we have to constantly adjust our defense. How do we defend? And when we know that where we got to defend is in the mind, so then how we got to defend, how we got to nurture, we have to be very creative. So it comes to this. It comes to children's books, which we had a discussion the other day, Wayagirdo, myself, and others here, about presenting this now, getting it out to the world in through a series of books. The first one will be Ahontagari Wadekwa, and this is what we envision. We envision, give me 1 second. So we envision this, a book that's going to be animated, of course, it's cartoon. Hey, don't let me burn this again.
Oh my goodness, get out of there.
What happened the last time?
Yes, that's why I'm.
You've all seen it. I blew up the earth the last time. I caught it on fire. So this is what we see. It's an animated book. So the opening of the book of Ahontagari Wadekwa will be an animated earth. And you're going to show us here at the Longhouse in our territory where we're at. You know, it's going to be very out of proportion. So you're going to see like a person standing on the earth. Like if this is the size of the earth, they might be like 4 or 5 inches tall, you know, it's a kid's book animation. And then as we're doing it, you'll see, for instance, now this is the idea. Now, if you don't agree, this doesn't have to be this way. All of a sudden, you'll see Steve, where he is holding the belt that he made. And then you'll see Merrick. You'll see Harold and Desiree. You'll see France, all of us, everybody who's involved. You'll see slowly but surely one of them. And from your origins, wherever you think your origins are, this is where you will first pop up. So if you're from here, this is where we'll see your image, and we'll see you hearing the call of Ahontagari Wadekwa. This will cause you to pop up, and you will then come over here, and we will show a circle of people standing there, giving their thanks, that each person who comes to the circle brings a different part of the Ahontagari Wadekwa. So a series of kids' books, children's books, but no, not children's. We identified it would be a series of children adult books. It's for families. It's for mothers to read to their children. It's for fathers to share with their children. It will be in primarily Kanienkeha, French, Spanish, English, and who knows what else. Possibilities are there. But this is the idea right now that will then lead into the next book, a series of teachings of, say, just like what the Kanienkeha classes are. This just the course, the class of tonight, last week, and it's going to be next week too. That's 3 classes combined. Just that right there is a book. Paintings. My niece and others. Janet is an artist who can create paintings that will fit the whatever is the text, and what the story is that we want to project. So this is what we talked about the other day, of each of us putting our effort into this. Of course, it's something that might only be just for us. I mean, maybe it might not take off. Maybe it might not get off the ground. Like to see, hey, there's a book now in bookstores that that's being published. Maybe it might not get that far. Maybe it might just quite simply be hard copies just for us, or online just for us to share within ourselves for the people who are within the Kanienkeha classes. The possibilities are there, they're endless. It is a way of getting the herstory out. We start slow with a Honda Gari Wadeko. We build up until the point of pretty much, and maybe after a year or so, we have a 500-year herstory being told to children in a way that is healing to the mind, is at the same time exposing wrongs, offering ways of how to correct it within the minds of for children to heal their minds. Okay, so this is something that we just discussed the other day, that we're already working on, that we already have pretty much all the storyline. It's in the Kanienkeha classes. It's just now a matter of really sitting there formulating. We got a page and we got the words there and the image. So it's putting it together this way. So this is where somebody like Janet, if you're interested with your artwork, like I said, we got my niece, and there's other Connie that did the paintings in the book Words of Peace in Native Land. My niece and Connie did paintings in there. So this is the idea. What do you think?
I would be interested, definitely.
We see popping up a lot of little hearts everywhere. You don't see them, but
Okay, what we're saying here is we want your image to be in this book. We could do this book with just having imaginary caricatures, but we take what's real, and that will not make it just a storybook. It is something that is real. So we take the real experiences, again, like we said, of each person. I just gave example of Steve and Harold and that, but I gave example of Steve because of this belt. So others like our good friend Paul Watson. So, like when we're looking at caricatures, it's gotta look like the person. If any of you seen our book, Words of Peace in Native Land, you can see the way that Connie did the caricatures in there. You can tell that it's me, but I'm faceless, and it's drawn. So we want to use everybody in this. We want you to be a living part of it, so that it's not just a story that's being told. It is a story that's being lived. So how do each of you feel about that? Is this something that you are okay with? Is it something that you could agree with? And doesn't necessarily have to be answered right now. It could be something that you might want to think about. We don't want to pressure you into just saying, yeah, you agree. And then we say, we got you. Okay, we snagged you. Yeah, unless you can answer right now, If not, then as time goes on, next week or whatever, or even on the Wednesday Zoom, when you've resolved this in your mind and concluded unto yourself, then you present. You just say that idea about the book that was talked about during the Kanienkeha class. I agree with it. Or no, I disagree. I don't want my image to be used in it. You don't have to say the reason why. If you don't want your image to be used in it, that's all you got to say. All we have to do is respect that wish. Okay, so this is what you know. This is what the plan is. If there's nobody that's got anything to say about this, then I guess we can do the closing then.
Of course, I mean, so go ahead, Stephen.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think it's an excellent idea. I love the idea of a children's book. What you just said, it's not a story being told, it's a story being lived. I think it's a great idea, and you got my full support.
Okay, so basically, we are going to become something else now. We are right now, each of us living an epic story. The story is kind of being told via this medium. You're seeing things evolve over the time that we've all been together, but the complete story isn't there. What is going to start to happen now through this process is we are going to be starting to tell a complete story. There has been such a corrupted chapter in human history that is so ugly that nobody wants to address it. As you see right now in the so-called United States, there's even this new terminology of what is it about history. They don't want people to teach critical history, they're calling it. Why would you even have a term, critical history? Why? History, it happened. People got killed, people enslaved, people invaded. That's the fact. Why call it anything else other than history? Why say critical history? Well, if that's critical history, then what's non-critical history? What other versions of history is there then? So anyways, we see that what's going to happen is we're going to be telling a story that has never been told before. A story that the world is afraid to hear. It's going to be our self-assessment. It'll be like our state of the nation, state of the human condition. And it won't be in a way of that we're identifying all the things that are wrong. No, it's going to be in the way that we're showing how life is supposed to be. And when children see how life is supposed to be, then children will be able to compare what their reality is. And they know. You know, as a child, when you were a child, you know, you've seen the corruptions that you were exposed to, that you were aware of. Now, all the ones that as we grew up and we became aware that we weren't aware of them when we were younger, there was so much that we weren't aware of. And so this is the way that the world is right now. They want to remain in a state of where they can say they weren't aware, they didn't know. This is what's wrong. I cannot imagine anybody growing up that way, because like I said, when I grew up in the Longhouse, everything was told to us. The truths of everything was right there at our fingertips. This is the reason why all of you are so exposed to truths, because it was exposed to us. In the language, it was exposed to Wayagero. In the Longhouse, the ceremonies, the law, the structure of the people of the Longhouse, I was exposed to it. We've seen these things. And this is the reason why, again, that each of you are on the receiving end of these teachings. And so you, through this process, become a part of that teaching process. where you're not somebody sitting on the sidelines. Right now, you may think, each of you, you may think that to some degree that you're sitting on the sidelines watching things happen. And you may think that to whatever degree, well, whatever is being adjusted here within our nation, that is being done through whatever way I can do, but you're going to find out through this process, you're going to be activated to change things worldwide. You will find one day there's going to be a kid that's going to come to you and that's going to say, "You're Stephen Gaines? You're the one who made that belt? Wow." Or you're going to hear, "You're Desiree? Wow, we seen, we heard so much about you." When you're going to be receiving that from children because of this good work, that's the time when you're going to know that all the teachings, all of it, when we couldn't see it, what it meant or how it was going to work, that's the time we're going to see, we're going to say, ah, that's how it works. That's how we change the world. We change the world by healing the minds of the faces that are yet beneath the earth before they even rise, through dealing with the young children today, the way that we're doing and the way that we're going to continue to do. Okay, so this is a good thing. This is another exciting development that we have to work with. And I say now I'll go to all of you because really the inspiration comes through all of you and what we're doing together. Okay, so
There's Janet that raised her.
yeah, Janet.
Okay, I probably should introduce myself formally. You can guess, my name is Janet, and I am the daughter of Teresa, the granddaughter to Gaji Chawenta. We're the Bear Clan, and down from Ganawake to Wakwazasni. So anyway, Stuart, I kind of want to say something. I don't know if I should, but I don't want to hold things back, and I want to be real about my life because that's all I have, and you guys are the few people that I have any connection to. So much is going through my mind about the history of Turtle Island and what's happened to the people. And I live in Saranac Lake in the Adirondacks, about an hour south of Okwesasne. And I'm been here almost a year. It'll be October 1st, it'll be a year. And I have to say that once again, I've been back in New York for 3.5 years. This will be the third time that I'm moving. And I regret the move to a certain degree because it's going to take me away from Okwesasne, Ganawake, and from the Northeast Woodland area, which, as white-sized as they have made me, I still see the great tree of peace whence I was a child before I was ever introduced to reservation or any of that. But that being said, about a month ago, I was in a store in the town here, and the lady didn't want me to buy the newspaper. And I wanted to buy the newspaper because I needed $1 more to get $5 off on this bar of soap I wanted to buy. It was very expensive living here. But anyway, I got the newspaper, and wouldn't you know, right on the front page, there's an article about critical race theory. And basically, these women said in the article that they don't want to teach critical race theory in the schools here because it's going to make their white children hate describes what I'm living amongst. The building I live in, mostly white. One Black person moved in the other day. A lot of these people, it's supposed to be a community, but it's very dysfunctional. I've faced a lot of fighting and prejudice and all this other stuff, and just very depressing for me. It's like I can't get anywhere. I can't get to the res. I can't get anyone to come and get me. I don't hardly see any Native people, and I do feel like I'm sitting on the sidelines. And when the winter comes, it's like it's really hard because there's hardly any real stores that you can afford anything. And this rich lady, well, she's not that rich, but she's got money, and she says, I got money, and she says, I can't even stand it here, and I'm from here because I can't get anything that I need from the stores except for, you know, some food. But anyway, that being said, it looks like I'm heading towards back to Minnesota, where I lived for 25 years. And I don't know if I'm gonna stay there, but I just want to tell you guys what's up, because I'm not happy here. I mean, I love the land, I love the mountains. And I'm gonna miss that, even though I haven't even been able to get into a canoe and, you know, ride the waters. And I look out the window, I see the lake, and it's all private land. I can't even walk on it, you know. So if I go to Minnesota, I'll at least be around Native people. May not be Kanienkeha, Kanienkeha, but at least I'll be having some kind of connection. But I don't want to like leave you guys, you know. And if I go out there and you guys do an immersion, like I hope I can come back until I can figure out a way to get more connected to our people. I feel like this is what I have to do. And anyway, I'm really grateful, you know, for everything and for life and for you guys. It's been a long haul, but I think I've grown a lot since I first met you guys. So that's what I just wanted to say.
I understand what you're saying, and I think, now here, I might be wrong, but I think that the non-native people are not getting the proper perception of this, of what you're saying. Because I think everybody's just hearing you saying what your experience is without realizing that you are the current, most recent in a long line, a long procession of oppressed people who are slowly but surely having the life squeezed out of them. This is a terrible thing of that you can't find your, basically like your peace, you know, your place. This is, of course, as you know, as a result of the unsettled, your spirit being unsettled as a result of what was done to you when you were young, when you were a child, and being scooped up and being not being able to have that access. Now, this is for no matter how terrible it has been for any of us, our experience is what we bring to the table. And this is not for us, or not just for you to be in that or left to experience that yourself. No, the people are supposed to absorb this, so that, you know, like if you're in a lake, you want a smooth lake, you don't want big choppy water. Now imagine if there were just one big choppy wave all by itself somewhere in that lake. You know, it can't be, because the water around that, just that one choppiness, will calm it down. The only way the water will be choppy if it's all choppy. So we have to absorb this from you. Now, of course, the way that we absorb it is we got to be careful with it so that we don't have that experience on us, and how you have suffered through it, then that suffering isn't going to be like put onto somebody else. So the way we absorb it has to be done through ceremony in accordance with Guyana Rasadaskanagoa. And this is part of that ceremony, this process, because I've watched you in the time that we've known each other. I've watched you have an anger towards me. I've watched you have epiphanies, have great understandings. I've watched how you are affected by when you're telling us the stories of, just to hear you right now, we could hear it in your voice. We can hear you struggling. We could hear the emotion. So we've seen and heard a lot of growth in you, through you. And this is something that you have to come to terms with, as to that you can't run away from this thing. If you're going to go to Minnesota, I'll say to you that whatever it is you're experiencing right now in upstate New York, you're going to experience the same thing in Minnesota. You're not going to be able to get away from this until you adjust it, until it's worked out of you. And the only way to work it out of you is, this is where I say that this new avenue that we're taking is you in the book, you coming into the circle is only the first step in the Honda Gadi Wadekwa. We didn't say this, I didn't add this part in, but in a series of books to follow will be the story of each person in that circle. It will be your story. It will be Stephen's story. So each of us are in the starting story of a Honda Gadi Wadekwa. And as we go into it, that each person, again, will have their story of how you got here. And this is going to be your healing. This is going to be what you're going to teach to others. This is what happened. This is what was done to me. And this is what the white people are terrified about. They're terrified about this critical race theory or critical history, not that the children are going to hate themselves. No way. The children are not going to hate themselves, because the children are not going to associate themselves to that. Who the children are going to hate is their parents, because their parents are the ones who are guilty of these things. So this is what is the fear in the white society. That's the truth. Not that children are going to hate themselves. This is what the non-native has always done. They always deflect from what the truth really is, and they always put the burden and the pressure upon the least, say the least responsible, or the weakest. They always attack their children. It's always against their children. Their children are always sacrificed. And this is what the white society is afraid of about critical race theory. They're not afraid that children are going to hate themselves. They're afraid that they're going to hate their parents, and with just cause. So this is, when you understand that, then then there is sort of like an urgency. It's an emergency to get this book done. And just ask yourself, you can do it, of course. If you move to Minnesota, you could still be a part of this the same way that you are. There was no physical barrier preventing you from being in the Kanienkeha classes or the other stuff or whatever, So it could still be done from Minnesota. But of certain things, what I've learned in my life, I could still be in Arizona doing our ceremonies or thinking great law of peace, but I've got to be in my territory to really have the impact. This is, as you know, the ultimate goal of scooping you away from your people was to get you away from your people. And so think of this right now. At this age, you, in thinking of moving elsewhere, you will actually be perpetuating the initial act that was done to you. You'll be perpetuating it upon yourself, removing yourself from your people, removing yourself from your territory. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm telling you, don't go to Minnesota. Of course, everybody's got to do what's best for them. But what I presented to you, I'll just say, just take time to think about it. Wrap your mind around it. Maybe take a couple of days to think about it before you really jump into doing that. Just give that a thought. Okay. We are coming into a time of where there's going to be heavy emotions on all of us. Dealing with these things, whether you're able to afford a bar of soap or not even get out of your house, regardless of what it is, we're all rapidly being confronted with circumstances that are really going to test our humanity, that is going to really get our emotions into turbulence. So each of us are going to have to stand strong. We're going to have to be strong. What does it mean to stand strong? I don't know. I don't know if we are standing strong. I don't know. I just know that I can't give up. I can't give in. I can't do what they want me to do. I can't go where they want me to go, because that means they want me to be away from where I am supposed to be. Just think about all these things and you'll let us know whatever you decide. Okay, so just to do the closing now. Everybody that's with us all did the closing, right? At one time or another. Okay, Elsa, how do you feel? You want to do the closing? Elsa?
Okay. I don't have all the papers though, so I'm gonna look some words and vocabulary, but I'll do my best. So, Hamid Sadravli, son granddaughter of Leah, great granddaughter of Adelina. I'm from Wabanaki Nation. And in Life Givers Nation, I'm temporary Bear Club member. So, 18 Nawaradu, Yugiadezu, because she's the great spiral of creation. She's the one who gave us spirit and the spirit of all things. She's the mother of all good intentions. So we would like to give our thanks to her. And 18 Nawaradu, Yukinista Garagwa Grandma, because she's the one who gives us our blood and the blood of all things. She's the one who manages all the waters on her daughter, and she's the one who manages all the waters in the life givers. So for the blood and the blood of all things. After Aitinawara Mother Earth, sorry, Mother Earth, because she's the one who gave us the body and the body of all things. Wherever we're from, whatever language we speak, or skin color we have, or whatever we believe, is separating each other. We all share the same mother. So we are giving our thanks to Mother. After that, 18 I don't remember. There's some words for giving our thanks 18 to all the lecturers and all the strain of life, because they give us purpose and direction, and they are the ones who manage all the nations, and it's all the strain of life. So the mothers of trees, plants, the mothers of let's say bears or wolves, they are the ones who give us purpose and show us how to be in life. After this, we would like 18 Nawara to all the butters in all the shape and form they come in. All the medicine shape and form they come in. We are medicine to each other. And so the ultimate medicine is love. So we can share love between each other, and also towards the creation. We need to show and to share our love to the creation. So to Yuki and Tesu, but Grandma Moon and Mother too. And after this, 18 all the ancestry, all our ancestors that were in the good mind to show us the path to bring back the Ganeseras Kanagua, and to use the Ganinte Wate, the good way to bring back the Gananguri. After that, I didn't know what to do. All the life protectors and the good mind that are with us, bringing the balance, the Gayantumana, in the society, and to help us to get back to our place of authority to manage the nations once again they properly. So well, okay, I'm forgetting things, but whatever I forget, you can put it in your own way of acknowledge and being grateful. And after this, we put back all the bad on all the planes, different planes of existence. So it is out, it is out, it is out.
Yeah. All right. Sasun Dios, everybody.
That's from the